large coffee urn, you need several items to gather for your area before you begin cleaning. You'll need a solution of hot soapy water using the green dish detergent. You'll need a product found in the laundry room called Dip It, cleaning lime away, satin shine paper towels, and then anytime you use the lime away, you'll want to put on rubber gloves. Then you'll also want to gather a clean pitcher, and then this brush is always kept right here beside the coffee urn, and this little brush too. So those are the two items that you'll need for that. The coffee pot stays hot all of the time, so you want to use caution when you're cleaning it, making sure not to touch any of the surface with your hands, or sometimes, I know it sounds silly, but people look into the coffee urn, you can touch it with your chin, so just be very careful. And then, of course, this is the arm that the hot water comes out of. So after a pot of coffee's been brewed, it'll be directly over this. You just need to make sure and move that out of the way. And then depending on what time of day it is, whether we keep coffee or discard it, you can always ask your instructor for guidance before you do that. If it's early on a Friday morning, you'll want to make sure and keep coffee. If it's late on an afternoon day after lunch service, you can discard it. So for this, we've only made one side of coffee, so we're going to drain the coffee out. And then we're going to, if it's a certain time of the day where we would want to continue having coffee, this coffee urn is kept here. You'll just want to remove the coffee, and again, if we're keeping it, it goes into this coffee urn that we take out to the dining room and plug in so that our customers continue to have coffee throughout the day. If it's in the afternoon, we can just discard that coffee down the drain. Then you'll want to remove the basket, hold on to the metal liner so that doesn't fall in the trash, get rid of the filter and the coffee grounds, and these can be taken back to the dish machine, scrubbed, and ran through the dishwasher. Then you want to take the product called Dip It, and we use approximately 2 tablespoons. You do not need to measure that, you can just eyeball it. And then we use the hot water right out of the middle spigot. You can swish it around a little bit right when you add that just to make sure that it dissolves. There's another basket liner that can also be removed and taken back to the dish machine to wash. Then you'll put your hot cleaning liquid directly into the cavity. Important step is to make sure that the liner is closed so that your product doesn't run all the way through. So you want to make sure that that is up. Then when it gets down to the bottom, I usually like to give it another little swish to make sure that all my product is dissolved in there. And then you can let that sit. The longer that it sits, the easier it will be to keep clean, depending on how dirty the machine is. If coffee's been left in it overnight, or if we've used it for an entire week before cleaning, you may want to let that sit for up to like maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Then you'll just use the brush. There is a step stool in the laundry room if you need to. You'll scratch on this and just make sure that all of the coffee residue and lines are removed. Then you will drain that cleaner, and you can see that it's taken all the coffee stains out of the inside of the machine. While you're doing that, you can grab your cloth from your hot soapy water and start wiping the machine down. Again, the surface stays very hot, so you want to use caution when doing this. There's a few removable parts that can also go through the dish machine. Both sides are identical, so if we have used this side for decaf, you can tell by opening it, looking to see if there's a coffee ring in it. If it is, you can do both sides exactly the same. If this side has not been used, you can still take everything off of it and just wipe down because it does catch dust. So you'll just wipe these down with a soft cloth, as well as the tops and sides. After this has gone through, this is your cleaner, you can dump that. And then I like to also, when I'm done cleaning it, run one batch of clean water through. But first I want to show you a couple other pieces to clean before we go back and do that. This is hot, so you want to use caution when doing that. There's a glass tube that is very fragile and breakable. You want to hold on to that with your fingers and remove the top cap. This is when then you will use your small brush. This whole thing is removable. You can stick your tube in from one side. Then there's a small piece on the bottom. You can just rinse this out in the sink area, getting the brush down there and removing all of that coffee buildup and debris. Once that's completely clean, you can rinse it out with water and replace the tube, making sure that the rubber gasket is all the way pushed down into there before you replace this. Then other areas that catch a lot of debris or coffee buildup are around each of the spigots. Catches a lot of coffee drips up underneath here. This area, occasionally this one. And there is a drip tray that is completely removable. You can take this back to the sink area, scrub it with hot soapy water. And then continue to clean in the crevices and cracks of this front drain area, paying special attention to where the coffee collects. Then when you're done wiping the entire area, you can run one batch of just fresh water through the machine to get rid of any of the cleaning residue. And to do that, you want to make sure that the arm is directly over the top, and then you push the start button, which will release the water. That will completely fill up, and then you can drain the water out into a pitcher and discard it. That just flushes cleaning product out of the system. Then when you're done, of course you can, one step I forgot. If there's any lime buildup, generally it happens on this spigot, the water spigot, and this overfill. It's a white, cakey mineral deposit, and if that's heavily built up, you can use a little bit of lime away. If you use the lime away, you'll want to put on rubber gloves because it is harmful to your hands. Use a paper towel to remove that lime or calcium deposit, and then you'll want to wipe with a soft cloth to remove that. It doesn't need it every time, but it occasionally gets built up. When you're done, you'll use a product called Satin Shine Stainless Steel Polish. Just apply that over a trash can on a paper towel. Apply to the stainless areas, and remember, of course, that this unit is hot. Buff that on, and then use the dry part of your paper towel to buff off, kind of similar to car wax. This prevents splatters and fingerprints and keeps it easier to clean. It makes a nice shiny surface. Once this is done running through, again, you'll just rinse that residue. If you think it needs clean an additional time, you're welcome to start the process over again with another round of dip it, depending on how dirty it is. And I usually use a little of the hot water to flush this area out after I've cleaned this as well. Then you'll just want to take your parts back from the dish machine that have been washed. Put the basket liners back in there. And you're good to go to make make coffee for the next